Hello everybody, this is MaximumDonut. Welcome to an episode of Dark Souls Prepare to Die edition. Not Let's Play, PvP. I actually had to go through New Game Plus to get this footage, and if you guys are watching my Let's Play, you'll know why. But pretty much, if you want to reach PvPable level, which is level 100, you kind of have to go through New Game Plus unless you want to spend a lot of time grinding, which I don't really want to do. So in this series of matches, I use the Dark Hand in my offhand, which is a really nice pickup, just a random drop off one of the Dark Wraiths in the New Londo Ruins, but also I think you get it from just like joining the Dark Wraiths regardless. And I'm using the Gold Tracer, I think that's what it's called, the Gold, Tracer, yeah. I'm not sure of the exact name, of the exact full name anyway. Which counts as a curved weapon, which is meant to be held in the offhand, but as a main hand weapon is actually pretty sweet as well. And I'm using the Pyro Glove in the offhand. And in these matches, I used Great Combustion and Black Flame and Great Fireball. These matches were really me just sort of getting back into PvP after having not PvP'd for a whole week or something like that. So it's not necessarily the most skilled PvP I've ever done in my entire life, but you know. Well, sometimes things just happen. Like, yeah, you guys might be saying that I'm like, I don't know, spamming my pyro attacks a little bit too much. But yeah, at this stage I was like, oh my god, some PvP in Prepare to Die edition. My god, this was actually my my first sort of set of matches, like proper matches in the Dark Souls Prepare to Die edition, just like at all. So yeah, I was just really trying to sort of get back into the groove of things, and you know, I was like quite nervous playing these matches as well. But anyway, this like PvP video will really give me an opportunity to talk about the things that I've been wanting to talk about with Dark Souls PvP and what it's going to be like in the future. And yeah, it's like just a really great opportunity for me, so I'm gonna talk about a few things today, hopefully, and post commentary I think is the way for me to do this. So first things first, I wanted to talk about the changes that have been made with the new DLC and the Prepare to Die edition. So first of all, the Darkwood Grain Ring has been nerfed, and this is actually genius. So the Darkwood Grain Ring now will only give you the Ninja Flip up to 25% equip burden, which basically, with if that was the only change that they'd made to the new the DLC, the new content or whatever, that would actually be enough to completely revolutionize Dark Souls PvP, because just with that single move, you add so much more variety to the game. You know, there'll be people actually using the fast roll now, so you have to really choose. You know, are you going to stay with low defense fast roll and be really mobile, but like if you eat heavy weapon attacks, you're going to get poise broken for a certainty? Or are you going to go for a lot slower build that doesn't get poise broken very easily, but has to focus a lot more on sort of choosing attack timings correctly, getting in good trades and things like that? So they'll introduce a completely different playstyle, a playstyle that essentially hasn't existed in Dark Souls prior to this, because there's been no need. You can equip full Havels or full Giants pretty much, use a Family Mask, use the Darkwood Grain Ring, and then that's it. You don't even have to think about what kind of armor that you're using. And actually, I mean, I'm guilty of that too. I mean, I'm not saying that I'm entirely innocent of that. Certainly, a lot of the Dark Souls PvPers, a lot of the more sort of experienced Dark Souls PvPers, after a while they realized that, yeah, the Darkwood Grain Ring takes away so much of the variety and things in Dark Souls, so they just made a stand. They made a stance against it and just stopped using it altogether. A lot of experienced Dark Souls PvPers did try to do this, and I myself tried to do it, and then I found it incredibly difficult. Like, I found a lot of my builds were less than optimal. I found that when I was playing against people who were using the optimal type builds with the Darkwood Grain Ring, that I was just getting owned all the time. So yeah, it didn't really, that sort of foray into not using the Darkwood Grain Ring didn't last very long for me, which is unfortunate. But now with the DLC and the new content, you have to well, you have to choose. You can't like have your cake and eat it too, pretty much, which is like just really good. I'm actually very happy about it. I mean, yes, I did sort of heavily depend on the Darkwood Grain Ring before, but now that it's gone, I'm not gonna miss it in the slightest. So that's the first change that I'm really pleased about in the sort of new content. So alright, the next thing I wanted to talk about was the fact that they've patched out a lot of the glitches in Dark Souls, and namely the Dragon Head glitch and the Bottomless Box glitch. So these were glitches that, yes, were abused by a lot of people. So like people could use the Dragon Head glitch and like permanently stun lock you to death. I mean, you know, there's videos on YouTube of people doing it, and those guys were pretty much the most annoying like assholes you could sort of possibly imagine. I mean, there was nothing you could really do to get out of it short of just dashboarding. So that was one problem with the Dragon Head glitch, yes. And the other problem with the Bottomless Box glitch was that people would use it to twink low-level characters. So give low-level characters like, you know, plus 5 Lightning Claymore or something, and also use it to give all of their characters 99 Divine Blessings and just chug it during duels. So these were indeed problems with Dark Souls, sort of native Dark Souls without the new content, but this is going to make it very difficult for I suppose like people like me, who would I like creating lots of different Dark Souls PvP builds. It's going to make it very difficult for us to create new builds. So I'm anticipating before the DLC is released in October, I'm going to go through and I'm going to make a whole bunch of Dark Souls PvP characters, and then I'm going to go through the new content with those different characters and like equip the new equipment and all that, whatever I want to do with them. That's what I'm going to go ahead and do. But it's actually requiring a lot of foresight on my part. I need to sort of plan ahead to make sure that I'm going to be able to have all of these different characters that I can use before the DLC comes out. So, on the one hand, I really like the Bottomless Box glitch. It helps, and I even like the Dragon Head glitch because the way that I used it and the way that a lot of the Dark Souls PvP community used it was to make creating builds a lot faster. But now that it's gone, it's going to get rid of some of the issues in Dark Souls PvP, so I suppose that's fair. And prior to me actually knowing about the Bottomless Box glitch and the Dragon Head glitch, I mean the Dragon Head glitch I only started using about say a month ago or something. So I didn't know about it until recently, or I didn't know that you could use it after it had been patched. So before all of these glitches, I did just play through the game, play through 2 New Game Plus in order to get PvP characters. So the prospect of doing that again is a bit annoying, because instead of it taking 15 or 20 minutes to create a new PvP character, it takes 10 hours. So I won't be making new PvP characters that often. The likelihood is I'll probably only ever make new PvP characters when I, for example, do another Road to Humanity series or something, and that's after I make the sort of 9 characters or something that I will before the DLC comes out. So yeah, they patched out the glitches. I'm not necessarily happy about it, but I can see why it was necessary to do so. So I mean, well, it's gonna go. So there's no point really complaining about it too much. Whether or not it'll actually make more sort of cheaters. I mean, pretty sure most of the hackers that I was really annoyed with, they didn't really abuse those glitches so much as they just actually hacked the game itself. So yeah. Alright, so the next thing that I wanted to talk about was the level caps. So as most people are already aware, the level caps are going to range from 0 to 50. 50 to 100, 100 to 200, and over 200. So these are the level caps in the arena. Whether or not these level caps would also translate to other areas like the Berg, Kiln, or the other established PvP areas like outside the, like in front of the Centipede Demon or wherever, you know, it's not really entirely clear at the moment. But what do I think of like the new level cap being set at 100, the new PvP level cap being set at 100? I think it's actually great. So I've been complaining in a lot of my recent videos, a lot of my recent PvP videos, about how there are lots of over-leveled people around, and the over-leveled people are really detracting from the variety in the game and like the joy of like making a character which is, you know, catered for certain things and, you know, designed to function a certain way and whatever. So, you know, like people taking their characters, for example, to level 200 or 250, pretty much you can take strength to 40 or 50, dexterity to 40 or 50, endurance to 40, vitality to like 60 or 70, and still have like 30 or 40 points left over to go into faith or like intelligence or whatever it is you want to do. If you can do that, then essentially there's no choices, there's no thought that goes into making your builds, which is really disappointing because, you know, Dark Souls is a game that provides a lot of scope for variation. So if the level cap is low enough that you have to choose between one thing or the other, it actually adds a lot to the game. So do I think that the new level cap should be set at 100? I do actually, because a level cap set at 100 means you have to choose between, you know, having high vitality but doing less damage, or with the elemental weapons, which I'll talk about in a second. You have to choose between either having high health or, you know, going for high damage output. If you want to buff your weapons to do a lot more damage, you are going to have to sacrifice a lot of health, particularly since the Mask of the Mother has been nerfed as well. And that's just adding to the variety of the game. It's adding to avoiding like a situation where players can go and invest in everything and have absolutely no consequences for like the PvP experience. So yeah, I'm personally happy for the new level cap to be set at 100. I'm finding that, you know, like where you can create a perfectly viable dexterity pyro character with a level 100 character, but characters like intelligence characters or strength characters in particular, you know, they're going to have to sacrifice something. They're going to have to sacrifice endurance or, you know, or equip burden. They're going to have to sacrifice vitality or whatever to make sure that they can PvP in that sort of level class. And so this is another good point. Oh, this is a good point to talk about something else as well that's been added into Dark Souls PvP, which is that elemental weapons seem to have been nerfed as well. So elemental weapons don't do as much damage, which means that characters, like low-level characters that use elemental weapons, can't actually do, or won't be doing nearly as much damage as they were previously. Which means that builds that are based on scaling now, so dexterity or strength, or if it so happens the weapon scales off intelligence or faith, then those two. Those kind of builds will be much more rewarded now than builds that focus around using, say for example, a scaling weapon with a buff initially and then switching out to an elemental weapon when the buff runs out. So yeah, I mean, these are all changes that I think are going to add a lot to Dark Souls PvP. When the DLC comes out on the Xbox, I'll be playing the shit out of it. I mean, maybe not immediately after it comes out, because I think about 2 or 3 weeks after it comes out, I'll have pretty much the last exam of my degree. So I'll be busy around then, but after that point, I'll be playing the shit out of it. I'll be playing so much of it and uploading like a lot of it, probably. So you guys can, I suppose, look forward to that if you're interested in seeing that kind of thing. Okay, so I've pretty much talked about everything I wanted to in terms of the general aspects of the Prepare to Die Edition PvP. So I wanted to talk a little bit about the dynamics that I found in the actual Dark Souls, the PC PvP community at the moment. So first of all, actually this is a good point to talk about though. This guy, for example, he's using full Havels with a Black Knight Great Axe. I mean, he's just basically not worried about equip burden at all. Well, he's not worried about staying under 25% equip burden, which means that he really can't roll around at all. But it also means that, you know, he is never going to get poise broken. And this is actually, well, characters like this, particularly since I have a low range weapon, actually have like strengths. They have certain strengths, which is that they can't get poise broken. They have a very high physical defense, which means the scaling weapons now, which are a lot more viable than they were before, will do less damage against these guys. Yeah, I mean, just I think a lot has been added to by the Dark Souls PvP, but by these changes that they've made. Okay, now I'm going to talk about the Dark Souls PC PvP community. So one thing that I've actually found is that I think a lot of the Dark Souls PC PvPers are new to the game, which is to be expected, obviously, since, you know, the Dark Souls on PC hasn't really existed prior to now, or has actually not existed prior to now. So a lot of the players don't really understand like some of the Dark Souls quote-unquote like etiquette or honor or whatever. But I'm just coming across a lot of Dark Souls PvPers on the PC that are just fishing for backstabs. The prime example of this is in the next match coming after this. But yeah, I'm finding a lot of players are just like circling for backstabs constantly, which I think has something to do with the fact that a lot of players are new to the arena, or are new to Dark Souls PvP, but also by the fact that winning or losing a PvP match has never been more important. What I mean by that is, prior to this, if you lost a PvP match, then that's whatever, you know, you lose, like, you might lose, well, you will lose one humanity, you know, that's fine. I mean, a lot of the people who PvP a lot don't give a shit anymore. But now with the addition of the arena, pretty much if you lose a match and you were on a really good win streak before, that's actually going to be devastating to you. So a lot of people, I think, will be put in a different sort of mentality or mindset when they do PvP in the arena of Stoicism, or Battle of Stoicism. So whether or not this is going to add something to Dark Souls PvP, I think it might actually add something for the negative, potentially. But I still think that it's really awesome. I mean, prior to this, the only way of like getting into leaderboards or whatever was entering into the Book of the Guilty, which, as far as I'm aware, wasn't necessarily a way to sort of rank people, but just became that way, which, you know, is fine. But yeah, in terms of like getting onto the plaque of the legends or whatever, I'm not so sure that it's going to add something positive to the Dark Souls PvP community. But certainly, like, you know, like PvPing in the Berg or PvPing in the Kiln or whatever, that's not really going to change as a result of the addition of the arena. So, you know, it's just the dynamic in the arena itself that I'm wondering about. But anyway. So I've pretty much spoken about everything that I've wanted to speak about in this video. I think, what else is there that I wanted to talk about? Yeah, it's true that I'm standing in the arena, I'm standing on that platform. It's taking a long time to actually get any matches, but obviously that has something to do, probably has something to do with the fact that the game has only been out for like a week and a half now. So you know, like I wasn't really anticipating getting a lot of PvP immediately. I mean, I thought that a lot of the console Dark Souls PvPers and things would come across to the PC just to play the new content, but then I realized you know, I was actually a bit hesitant about doing that as well, because you know, I don't really want to pay $70 just to play the same game that I've been playing before. But I didn't really want to miss out on this content. I wanted to get it as soon as possible so I could upload it as soon as possible. That's why I invested all the money that I did into getting Dark Souls on the PC. I just want to briefly comment on the actual gameplay. So you can see this guy's actually just lag stabbing. So you know, he's obviously not like completely inexperienced with Dark Souls PvP. But yeah, I mean, what, like, I don't really know. I don't really understand, like, I suppose, you know, lag stabbing and all that is a good way to get wins against people, so, you know, maybe that's why he's doing it, but personally, I just found this so irritating, and so at this stage, I'm just like, okay, fuck it, I'm just gonna go for backstabs against this guy, because pretty much that's all that he's doing. Yeah. Alright, anyway, back to what I was talking about before, and I've only got a minute left, so, I'm just going to wrap up this video and this commentary with just my overall perspectives on the Dark Souls Competitor Edition PvP. So one, there's a lot of inexperienced players playing the Dark Souls PvP at the moment. And there's also not that many Dark Souls PvPers on at the moment, or that I've sort of personally experienced. So it's quite hard to get PvP at the moment. Two, the changes that they've made to Dark Souls PvP are really going to benefit the Dark Souls PvP community, particularly the community that I'm a part of, or I like to think that I'm a part of, where like I'm looking for variety. I'm looking for like being matched against skilled players and, you know, playing on the same sort of tier or whatever. Anyway, video is coming to an end now, so thanks for watching, guys, and I'm sorry that this PvP was not really up to normal standards for me anyway, but I just wanted to upload the first PvP set that I could get. So anyway, thanks for watching, guys, see you in the next one.